Hello everyone, in today's lecture I'm going to teach you how to draw perspective. First we need to learn some fundamentals about space and how to divide the space. For example, we have a wall. We are looking directly at the wall without any perspective and distortion. So this is a wall. How do we divide the wall? Let's say we want to divide the wall into 6 horizontally and 3 vertically. So first we're going to draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. By doing that, we found the middle point. So we could draw a vertical line through the middle point. If we continue to draw diagonal line, we would be able to find another middle point. And if we continue to do diagonal line again, we'll find the middle point and be able to divide the space into 4. However, this is not what we want, because we were thinking divide this into 6 and this into 3. So how that works? Dividing something into 3 is not a problem. We can actually just look at it and divide. So maybe divide something into 3 like this. Just draw lines. And then how do we divide that into 6? By doing a diagonal line. So when the diagonal line crossing with your horizontal line, you can actually go through them and draw a vertical line. So if you did the work perfectly, they should be equal parts. This is a little smaller because I wasn't dividing this line perfectly. So that's how you divide. Of course, we want to divide into 6, which is very simple, right? Just draw a diagonal line, finding the middle point, or just any diagonal line will do. And finding the middle point, and again finding the middle point here and there. So then you can keep dividing. If you did a good job, they should be equal parts. So let's say I have a wall of 4 meter by 3 meter. Maybe the eye level is at 1.5, so it's just in the middle of the 3 meter. So when you try to divide the wall, what you can do is you can draw a diagonal line when you meet in the middle, and you can actually just divide with eye, go through the middle part, find the middle point, and then draw a vertical line. And then you can go by horizontal line. So if you did good job, what happened is you divided the space into 4 and 4 as well. I don't know if that's all useful, the way that we divide this is all useful, but that's how we started to divide space, by drawing diagonal lines, and sometimes by drawing diagonal line and meeting with a horizontal line. So when the diagonal line crossing the horizontal line, that's when the diagonal line crossing the vertical line, then we'll find the horizontal line. So that's how we divide the space. So the next step is to decide what are we going to draw. Let's say I'm going to draw a living room. A living room is windows and window. So window, window, and window. Okay. So my sofa is here as an L-shaped sofa. The space is about 4 meters. And this space is, I think I'm going to want to extend it just a little bit as 3 meters. So you proportionally wise, I mean this much as 3 meters. 3 and 4. So, and my sofa comes out maybe at 2 meters, roughly here. So this is not totally to scale, but roughly. So if that's 2 and that's 1 meter, and my sofa is just a little bit, the depth of the sofa is just a little bit smaller than 1 meter. So, and in order to seat 2 people here and 3, roughly I need this much space. So this is just the beginning of laying out the space, and okay, and then maybe I have a TV stand here of some sort, and maybe I have I may want the sofa to be extended. Maybe this is, so this could be a reality space or could be some kind of an imaginary space. You can start with a simple layout, and then from there we will do our perspective. So with this space sort of in mind, that I will start to do my perspective. I decided the space is about 3 meters high. So the space is 4 meters in terms of the width and 3 meters in terms of the height. And I know I'm going to draw a perspective sort of, using this space here. So it really cannot be that big. So maybe I will start with a wall as 4 meters, roughly, and 3 meters, roughly. It sort of has to be proportionally correct, because this is your beginning. So if this one is proportionally wrong, all the rest may not go well. And this is only your very beginning, so you certainly could change a lot of things after this and tracing over to fix some mistakes. So since that's a 3 meter high, my eye level is 1.5, so it's roughly really just in the middle of it. And my 1 meter height is here, here, here. Okay. So I decided where my vanishing point is. I'm going to do a two-point perspective. So I sort of decided my vanishing point is, you do not normally want to put your vanishing point right in the middle, because that's not nice. The perspective look very stiff. Oh, sorry, I think I'm going to do a 1 point perspective to start with. Okay, so that's kind of the beginning of the space. And if you like, you could draw lines on the wall. Because that's 1 meter, 1 meter, and 1 meter. So if I want to draw perspective line, I could do from your vanishing point, goes through the corner, and draw. So this is equal parts. The middle one look just a little bit bigger because I'm not very precise. So the next thing is, of course, this is very easy to divide the height because you can just draw from your vanishing point and it goes through the corner. There's something already marked on the wall as 1 meter, 1 meter, and 1 meter. So if you just go through that and draw, or you could actually do another way of doing the line if you're not comfortable drawing the other direction. So I'm just going to challenge myself and draw the other direction. You could also draw this direction too, but you should do everything freehand. So that's the perspective line, dividing the height. So now we want to also divide the depth of it. So how do we divide the depth of it? It's by making a guess first. So because we know, if we look at the corner, we know this is our 1 meter. So how do we make a guess? My first guess, there are many different ways of making guess, and you always have to come back and revise your wireframe of the space. But my guess is I'm going to divide this 1 meter into 2 and just roughly use half of it, the same distance right here, as the beginning of my first 1 meter. So my 1 meter started from here because I'm using half of it. You could use 60%, 70%, 40%, but really you should not go, you actually should not go over 70% because that means you're too close to the view, then you would not be able to include anything in the view. So I would start with 50%. So here, this is my 1 meter, and it's only 50% of the height. Okay, so since I finished that, I draw my 1 meter. I could also draw here on this wall. If you're doing a perfect job, you should omit. So that's the first 1 meter. The second meter, we're going to go using the technique that we just used. From the corner, go through the middle point, and then is going to meet with our so maybe first lightly look at it. Where is it? And is this roughly correct? That's pretty much correct, looks to me. Okay, so that's the second meter. So this is the first meter, this is second meter. So I'm going to continue with the same technique and draw vertical line from there, and starting from this point now, meeting the middle point, and then go over to the ceiling. So first look at it roughly. Looks like it might be somewhere here. So draw a line. Continue. Okay, so this should be one line. Just a little off. So that's my third 1 meter. As you can see, the first 1 meter is much smaller, the second one is bigger, and third one is getting bigger. So of course, if we use the same technique, eventually we will end up with something real big that's out of our control and also distorted. So it looks like if I make a guess of using 50% as the first 1 meter, 50%, that I pretty much can include the 3 meters in the space. Anything beyond that is going to be distorted. So, of course, if you want to include more, you want to see more of the space, then you will have to have a different strategy. What you will do is you can extend into the space. So for example, this is my 1 meter. I'm going to go draw a line, just sort of connecting with the perspective. So my wall started from here, but I can move my wall backwards also. So what I'm going to do is the same strategy except going different direction. I would use my upper point, go through the middle point and connecting to the bottom line, which looks like pretty much here. So if I finish the whole thing, I just extended my space by 1 more meter. Of course, you can see sometimes the challenge is when you draw a long line, it looks like my top line is a bit off. So in that case, many of the things are off because of that one line is a little bit off. So of course, this is only the sketch. Do the best as you can and then divide the space. So if here's a 3 meter, no, here's a 4 meter, you can draw a diagonal line to divide the 4 meter, but if you trust your eye, you can also just divide as half and continue to divide as another half. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 meter over there, and if I draw so when I finish, I divided the space into pretty much a grades of 1 meter by 1 meter on the floor. So if I look at it from here, which is the one that I extended into, I'm just going to hatch so that you see how I divided my floor. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Of course, when you try to divide this area, and I was using, connecting the top point to the middle point and then draw a line. I actually, from the bottom point, draw over the middle point and extend it to the ceiling. So I assume this is the same in terms of in the space, those are the same. So this is basically the middle point of this part. So by doing that, and you can certainly do it differently, and sometimes maybe you could even do, for example, if this is my first 1 meter, right here by the corner, if this is the first 1 meter, you could also draw a diagonal line. If you trust yourself, what you have already done is you equally divided this into 3. So this is 1 meter and this is also 1 meter in terms of the height. So what you can also do is you can also use the line that you already have in the space. And of course my line is a little bit distorted, as you can see, because this is supposed to be the same distance, because I didn't do a good job setting up the middle one. The middle one is a little bit off. The middle one is really quite a bit off. Yeah? So maybe that tells you another strategy of, is really extend your line perfectly to the vanishing point, because when we try to use our eye, it really could sometimes be off. Okay, so that's this part. The next part I'm going to do is going to twist over and make a better one. So this is my version 1. And I'm going to continue with more revisions, and then if I have made some mistake, I'm going to correct them.